Have you ever heard about aphantasia? No, okay. What about if I ask you to imagine a beach? Can you picture the golden sand, the turquoise water, possibly some waves? I bet that most of you can do that, although experiences can be quite different. For some of you, it's harder to visualize a beach. The image might be fleeting or quite unrealistic. Others can easily see a beach, and the details can be quite clear and precise. The beach can be one you visited or a completely made-up one. But Blake Ross, the co-creator of Mozilla Firefox, points out, nearly all of you have a canvas. I don't. I've never visualized anything in my entire life. I can't see my father's face, or a bouncing blue ball, or my childhood bedroom, or the run I went on 10 minutes ago. I thought counting sheep was a metaphor. I'm 30 years old and I never knew that a human could do any of this. If you ask me to imagine a beach, I can ruminate on the concept of a beach. I know there's sand, I know there's water, I know there's sun, maybe a lifeguard. I know facts about beaches. I know a beach when I see it, and I can do verbal gymnastics with the word itself. But I cannot flash to beaches I've visited. I have no visual, audio, emotional or otherwise sensory experience. I have no capacity to create any kind of mental image of a beach, whether I close my eyes or open them, whether I'm reading the word in a book or concentrating on the idea for hours at a time, or whether I'm standing on the beach itself. Blake Ross is an aphantasic, and approximately the 3–4% of the world's population shows this spectrum condition of reduced or absent mental imagery. This is how aphantasia has been defined by the scholars who coined the term in 2015. Aphantasia has been known and studied long before that date, at least since the late 19th century, but is now receiving much research attention. Experimental work on aphantasia is rapidly growing and is delineating a stable performance profile which indicates specific deficits and abilities shown by aphantasics. As nicely suggested by Ross, aphantasics have troubles in conjuring up sensory representations. So not only visual ones, but also representations in other perceptual modalities. For instance, the sound of the sea or the smell of the sand. However, some aphantasics report having flashes of colors or fleeting visual representations, although they are not able to voluntarily form those visualizations and to sustain them. Moreover, aphantasics cannot project themselves into the future or into the past. They have troubles in recalling details of faces, voices, or situations of their personal past, and this is so not just for childhood memories, but also for what happened to them in the recent past. And they can talk about strongly emotionally loaded personal events, such as the loss of a parent or the bad end of an important relationship, but in a way that suggests that they are not really reliving those events when they are recounting them, because there is a sort of emotional detachment. And the same holds for projections into future scenarios. Despite those deficits, aphantasics prove to be good in representing and processing schematic visual information, transformation of space, and relations among objects. And this has been shown by the fact that aphantasics behave like typical subjects on tasks that are supposed to recruit mental images, such as, for instance, rotating tasks, asking you to match a given image with another one which is supposed to be a rotated version of the first picture. So all these considerations suggest that there is something puzzling in the cognitive performance profile individuated by the current empirical literature on aphantasia. And indeed, it shows a dissociation between subjects' ability to conjure up mental images and their ability to accomplish tasks that are expected to recruit mental images. To explain such a puzzling pattern, scholars have suggested to see aphantasia as a condition affecting only voluntary mental imagery. Aphantasics are not able to voluntarily form mental images, but they can involuntarily make use of them. Is aphantasia really a mental imagery condition? And how it is related to imagination? Indeed, aphantasics have been described as having a blind imagination, and in non-academic discussions on the topic, the idea that aphantasics lack their imagination is quite popular. These are among the questions that have motivated me as a philosopher to get interested in aphantasia. In my paper, I develop an alternative interpretative framework pivoting on the idea that aphantasia is not to be understood in terms of a single capacity that can be exercised either voluntary or involuntary, but in terms of two different capacities, mental imagery and sensory imagination. One of the lessons aphantasia teaches us is that we tend to conflate mental imagery with imagination, and more specifically with a sensory perception-like type of imagination, but they are not the same thing.